Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Cathy Ladman intro. Hi, it's Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieKashian.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com, FamilyPetAncestry.com. I like a URL, you guys. This is the program, Dork on Dork Dialogue. My name's Jackie Kashian. Let's do the credits. Mike Rigbert composed and sang that song you just heard. He will sing his lyrics to the Mexican Hat Dance at the end of the program. Patrick Brady's going to fix this audio, and Vilmos does my website, JackieKashian.com. DorkForest.com just has the episodes. It has the bonus and the episode. You can also listen to it on iTunes, and you can review the show on iTunes, and there are comments available on DorkForest.com right now, which is a WordPress document that is relatively new. And I'm trying to do pictures on there too. So everything's on that. There's an app if you enjoy a specific Dork Forest app, but the bonus that was going to be on the app is just on it's on the Libsyn page now, and I bring it over to the WordPress, the dorkforest.com. JackieKashian.com has everything. Both Dork Forest and Jackie Kashian have a donation button. Feel free to donate, folks. Knock yourselves out. If you enjoy the program, I'd love to get $100 a year from everybody. If you don't have $100, I get that. If you want to do $10 a month, I have not made that easy. But if you're listening to the show every month, you get to hear this. Feel free to donate $10 a month for 10 months. And then November, December, we do something else. Yeah, just use the donation button. You can also use the Amazon banner on JackieKashian.com, which just brings you to Amazon. When you order from Amazon, the Dork Forest gets a bit of a kickback, and that's a way to donate to the show as well and help the show. On JackieKashian.com, there's a bunch of merch. You can get a Ranger of the Dork Forest t-shirt. You can get just the Dork Forest t-shirt. You can get my stand-up albums, which are Circus People, It's Never Gonna Be Bread, and this will make an excellent Horcrux. You can also get a Horcrux DVD. And you can get a Spooky Reading Girl t-shirt, which is a stand-up joke that I do about reading, because I'm a dork. So that is all available on the website. This week I am on the road. I'm just doing one night in Nevada City, California, opening for Maria Bamford. So if you are in the central northern part of California, which is a very large state, I'll be in Nevada City with Maria Bamford. Check my website or hers, mariabamford.com, for that. And then next week, I'm headlining outside of Seattle in Kirkland at Laughs. All right, enough. I think that's it. No? What the heck? How about allthingscomedy.com? They're my umbrella group of podcasters. So if you're looking for more pods, go to allthingscomedy.com and check out one of their... They have a bunch of other podcasts. And I'm also doing another podcast just about stand-up comedy with Lori Kilmartin over on the Nerdist website. So it's called The Jackie and Lori Show. I'll be the Jackie in that. But let's dork out already. Dork, dork, dork. Let's do it. Hey, it's Jackie Kashian. Welcome to my living room in the Dork Forest. I'm with Cathy Ladman, longtime fan Cathy Ladman.
Oh, longtime fan of you, Jackie Kashian. I remember the first time I saw you.
What? It's in Minneapolis?
I believe it was in...
Some Hanson gig?
It was in the St. Paul...
The Galtier Plaza?
Yes,
possibly?
I believe it. That's kind of where my memory is. I remember you wearing... You know what you were wearing?
God knows.
Plaid shirt.
Oh, was I wearing that? I still have that plaid shirt. It was a time when I just, I didn't really get it. You gotta move to Los Angeles and it's on the wind where they're like, hey, that is super butch. No one will be surprised at all when it's, and I thought it was cute. Right. And no doubt it is. I bought a tie about a month ago. A Gryffindor tie when we were at the Harry Potter World.
Oh, right.
And, I put it on and I sent a picture to my husband and he said, seems a little butch. And I said, it's a tie. It's going to be butch. But he's got, you look super cute though. And I was like, well, you were very supportive.
Oh, that's sweet.
It is very, so Cathy Ladman, yes. Ladman, with Cathy with a C, CathyLadman.com, at Cathy Ladman, stand-up comic. The last TV set I saw of yours was that Amazing Ferguson set.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Didn't you do Ferguson?
Yes. But
and talk about the weight loss thing?
Yes, I've done it since then, but that was the one. Yeah, but that was the one that I did in
probably 2 years ago.
2014,
Yeah.
August of 2014.
Yeah.
I was really, that was a big turning point for me, doing that set.
Because you just talked, you were like, let's just talk about it.
I talked about it, but it's not, I'm getting ready to put up my show finally.
You got a solo show or?
Yes, called Does This Show Make Me Look Fat? And it's about the title might be the funniest thing, I don't know, but it's about my eating disorder. And that's like, the kind of stuff that I'm doing in the show is really not comedy club stuff.
Right.
A lot of it's funny, but it's not a comedy club show.
Right.
And what I wanted to do, what I did for the Ferguson set is I took whatever I could out of the show that lent itself to a comedy set.
Yeah.
And then I surrounded it with related material on getting older and image and body image and that kind of stuff. And it meant a lot to me. And I knew it was a good place to do it because, Craig was,
really supportive.
And he's a recovering alcoholic and, and talked to me about that when he was in treatment. We talked about that on the panel and he said he would sit with an anorexic woman at dinner. And it was all very, very interesting and a very, gratifying experience.
Yeah. It was cool to watch. And it's always weird to me that he talks about, being in recovery because to my knowledge, there's this anonymity that's supposed to happen.
Well,
but I don't know what it's none of my business. So I try not to give it too much of a.
The anonymity is to not, as I understand it, is to not, reveal what you, speak about or with whom you speak.
Oh,
and whom you see
I thought
at
it
meetings.
was. I thought the anonymity part of it was in case you dropped the ball and started partying like a crazy person, then anybody could point to it and go, "Oh, look what doesn't work."
I think that is part of it.
Yeah, whatever. Recovery doesn't work. You might as well just give up and eat a bullet.
But see how I feel, and I don't even exactly. I don't even know if I have the right to feel this way, but I feel that by showing your recovery, that it gives people hope, and
permission to do it.
That outweighs the possibility of someone dropping out.
Right. Well, I think it also.
But people could argue with me.
Right. I mean, there are as many opinions about that as you like, so it's all good. And I like that he's not super heavy handed about it, I mean, everyone I know.
No, he's not proselytizing or anything like that.
Right. Everyone who I know is sort of out about being in recovery is pretty gentle about it, Marin and, he's out about it and Craig is out about it and Hardwick is out about being sober, but not in recovery. Not in any sort of, he's doing it solo. He's just doing it with family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And some people play it much closer to the vest, I mean, and that's
my brother Terry hasn't drank in like 40 years and he credits, the Jesus.
All right. That's another program.
Right. The meanest Jesus though. It's a lot.
Oh, really?
It's unfortunate. I would like Terry.
A punishing thing?
It's a punishing Jesus and it's full of rage.
It's really sad.
It's really sad and and I would call it sad if I didn't have to talk to him. And then it's exasperating and irritating.
Yes. I mean, it's like Cruz. I mean, it's like somebody who is pushing. Even insidiously.
Tom Cruise?
Yes,
like fair Tom enough. Cruise. Nice. I like
cruise. It's like cruise ships. But no, like what he said, when he asked him a question about, I can't even remember what the question was, but he says, well, I'm sure we'll all be praying about it. Like, excuse me. Hello.
Please
don't tell me.
Please don't make me pray about something.
Oh my God. Nothing irritates me as much as someone telling me what I'm going to be doing.
Really? You don't enjoy a great deal of bossiness? Okay, here's what I like to do is I like to talk about people's dorkdom's.
Go ahead. I know. I'm commandeering.
I weed it off almost immediately.
Okay.
I usually, we get into it and then I weed off.
Okay. There's so much to talk about.
I like to break it up. Yeah, and we haven't seen each other in ages.
I know. I mean, not in a substantial way, certainly.
I quote one of your jokes all the time to both Maria Bamford and my husband, Andy Ashcraft, because you do this thing about how sex as you get older. It's just a wrestling match of who gets to be on the bottom. Remember that bit?
Me?
Yeah. I saw you do it at some weird Tom Hansen four-wall. Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even remember that.
Write it down, sister, because it was funny. I'm dead certain.
Oh my
Minneapolis,
Another
in the
thing about
burbs.
sex when you're getting older is you don't remember your material about it. Oh my God. I have
a great
no
bit.
memory of it.
I've quoted it with Kilmartin on the Jackie and Laurie
Are
show.
you sure
on
that
Nerdist.
was all? You're absolutely certain.
I'm absolutely certain because I was watching you. You had been in Minneapolis for weeks. I think with your parents,
Right.
And
with my in-laws.
yeah, or with your in-laws,
Yes.
yeah, because of Tom. And then, but
Well, we lived there for 16 months.
right, you lived there,
Yeah.
and so you were doing this show for Tom Hansen like a lot.
Oh, right.
So I bet you don't remember a half an hour of that material.
I'm sure I don't.
Yeah. So what the hell? But it's a great
I know
bit.
where it was too. Oh God, that was loud. Sorry. It was at it was at a Holiday Inn.
Sure,
in
it
St.
was.
Paul.
Why wouldn't it be Tom Hansen? And God love you.
Yes.
And so that guy should have had a bait shop. That's all he ever wanted. You know, Tom Hansen, all he ever wanted in Minnesota was a bait shop.
But so many club owners shouldn't have been in comedy.
Right. Well, and it's fun because I mean he did the best he could, and he's not really doing it anymore. But he genuinely, I think Scott, his brother, got him into it, and then he's like, "Well, it's a job. I guess I'll just do this."
It's a family business.
It's a family business. I can still have dogs, and you're like, Tom, just open a bait shop and live your life.
I hope he's happy now because he had a lot of.
He is. He
sorrow in his
remarried.
life.
He
did?
Yeah, he remarried.
Oh, good.
And then and he's living down in Kentucky.
Good.
So he is good. Hi, Tom. You're listening to the
Tom.
Dork Forest, aren't you? Seems unlikely. But so I have two stories about
Yes.
you before we talk about you.
we got to get to that dorkdom.
We got to get to that dorkdom, which is many years ago, probably 5,
Yes.
6 years ago. And I've told this story on various.
That's not many.
It was
Well,
many
if
in
you're
the
10. It is.
It is, and the Dork Forest is 10.
Oh, okay.
So probably
Is it?
Yeah.
You know, I've wanted to do this for so long. I can't believe it's been 10.
I know.
It's taken me 10 years.
It was, and this was in passing, and I
Yes.
have credited you this, and I've
I
credited
hope
you.
I remember this one.
This one is harder because it makes you sound silly, but I mean it in the nicest way because it makes me
no,
laugh.
I like being silly.
Excellent. I asked you to be on the show, and I said,
Yes.
because you were talking about knitting, and you
Yes.
said, the thing about knitting is that knitting isn't dorky, it's cool.
I said that?
Yeah. And then
Oh my
I
God.
laughed and laughed, and then
Oh
you
my
laughed
God.
because you're like, no, everybody knits now. Now it's a cool thing. And I was like, nope, no, it is not, my friend.
Actually, well, it started to become a lot more popular, certainly, within the visible people in Los Angeles, and a lot of the actors.
There was
on
more
set
knitting.
were doing it.
There was- yeah.
But I
Have you
started
always knitting?
I started knitting.
Did you learn back in the 1800s from your great grandmother?
I did. It was a reward for after I churned the butter. If I did it on time, I could come in, hang up my apron, and knit. What I don't remember exactly. My mother taught me how to knit, I think, but was never an avid knitter. But
She wasn't an avid knitter?
she was not. But she knew from my grandmother, who
Okay.
knitted, but mostly crocheted, I think. But did knit, and
Crochet is that thing that holds pots, right? You hang things from the top of the ceiling and then you stick a pot in it, or you make like a bracelet. What's
crocheting is with a hook. It's a one-handed craft.
Oh, okay.
Knitting is 2 needles.
Oh, interesting.
So with crocheting, I'm not as fond of crocheting as I am of knitting. Sometimes
I
do
didn't
it,
know
but-
that you could do it with one hand.
Well, crocheting is just it's a crochet hook.
Okay.
It's about 6 inches long with a hook. I mean, sometimes
And you're just sort of weaving
you're
the
pulling
whatever.
a loop through a loop through a loop through a loop. But then there are other ways that you wrap the yarn around and you pull
good.
it through different. But I don't love the product, the crochet product, as much as I love the knitted product. I think the knitted product.
There's a
to
lot more
me,
possibilities.
That's what I think.
because of yarn, right?
That's what I think. But there are
Okay.
people who crochet. No, I mean,
Can you crochet with different?
oh yeah.
Why not? I suppose.
And different, see, and also with crocheting, you can do like a kind of like firmer cords and do
Okay.
different things. But I'm not into that. And for a very short time, I was into macrame.
Oh
That
my
was
God!
so
What the hell
great.
was What is
Well,
macrame?
you know, I was into any craft. You know,
right. But that's got a sort of string attached
I
to it
made
too, right?
I made a plant hanger, as everyone. did
Okay,
with
so I'm getting macrame
macrame
and crochet mixed up.
I
What do
can't
you
even-
crochet? What
Crochet
do people
yarn? Yarn.
You use yarn to crochet, and then are
Yes.
you making a sweater or a hat?
You can make a sweater. You can make a hat. You can make
Clothing?
anything.
But with crochet, but macrame, that's the thing that's strong that you can.
With jute, it's with jute.
Is the name of the
Jute?
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
it's
coarse.
stronger.
You wouldn't want to put it on your body. It's much stronger.
It's a hair shirt.
And, ugh.
Yeah.
Then you could do other things. Then everybody did plant hangers. It was so 70s.
It was very.
Oh God, it was. So
Do you ever do
70s.
string art? Do you ever do have you ever seen the nails with the wire art and then it's a 3-masted ship? It's one of my favorite memories as a child.
I've seen it, but no, I never was.
My Uncle Harry had a 3-masted ship on black velvet with nails and wire, and it was string art, and it was it was gorgeous. Especially
gorgeous?
if you were 9. Yeah, you were 9. You were like, this is.
What isn't gorgeous when you're 9?
And you want to get out of South Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and you're like, I want to get on the open sea. When will I meet pirates? And I want to be a cabin boy. Anyway, so
my mother taught me
macrame and crochet, but your mother taught you knitting.
And I remember she gave me. I started on her number 5 needles, which are kind of small to start on. In retrospect,
Are there different size needles?
Oh yeah, they go all the way from, I guess,
tiny
1 or 0, which I don't like to work on the tinier ones because it takes forever to get a project.
Does it make the stitch smaller if the needles are smaller?
Yeah, and you use a much thinner yarn.
Okay.
Very fine, like sock yarns. It takes a long time to do. And then the needles go all the way up to, I don't know, 17.
Okay.
I mean, like things
pushing 20.
Things that go like a horse's leg, you know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you hear
no,
that? Okay.
I didn't hear that.
That's good equipment. But so I started making this cardigan. It was like an ivory wool cardigan, and
that was your first big project.
Yeah, and interestingly, I was working at this horrible department store for the summer called Corvettes. I think it was just a New York.
That's a great name.
Every day's a savings day at Corvettes.
Where was
at
Corvettes?
Corvettes, our shopping bag is savings.
Wow, that is somebody paid someone to write that, and then I remember.
I remembered it.
Yeah, it's on Cape Cod. There was a hey, where you going? We're going to Thompson's Clam Bar, 'cause that's where the tastiest clams are. Is the seafood good? The best by far. And then it went on like that for genuinely like 2 more paragraphs.
Oh my God.
So Corvettes, where was Corvettes? Was it in Minnesota?
It was in New York store.
Oh, it was in New York.
New York store. And there were several, and Corvettes had the best record department.
Oh, okay.
They had, everything else was very bad quality there.
But the albums were good for some reason?
Great record department and the best prices, and I'd get all my singles there.
Oh,
get all my albums there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about when, I got 45 RPM singles.
Sure.
Which the standard price was 69 cents, but when they were on sale, it was 45 cents.
And then did you get a deal because you worked there? Or if it was already on sale?
I don't remember if he got such a good deal on records there.
Right.
I think there was an exception, and albums were only like $3,
Right, but it was also the late 60s, early 70s?
I worked at Corvettes. I was in college, so it was the mid 70s.
Mid 70s.
Early to mid 70s when I worked there. Early 70s.
I remember getting 45s and just being confused on how to play them because the hole was too big.
You didn't have an adapter?
We had an adapter, but it took me nobody showed me how to use anything in my family. Everyone was just like, you know how to read, don't you? I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh my God.
So, there's just
so there's
expectations
exactly.
that you must have learned how to put a 45 dealy bob in.
You've been observing.
What were did you collect the 45s? You must have collected albums.
Yeah, and you know what I'm so pissed off about? I gave my nephew my box of 45s.
Oh, and he sold them for rent.
It's gone.
I'm sure he sold them
where the hell it is. I'm so sick. Well, you know what? There would be more junk for me.
Exactly.
But I still have the very first album that I think that I either was bought or my sisters gave to me, and it's actually framed and hung up in my I have 3 album covers hung up in my bathroom now. And a couple that I got from Goodwill, and this one. And I wrote my name on it, so I see my cursive handwriting from when I was 8 years old.
Right.
Right on the episode.
What was
the early Beatles?
An early Beatles album?
The early Beatles.
Oh, it's called The Early Beatles? Mm-hmm. Is that a Beatles song? A Beatles album?
It's a Beatles album, yeah.
And is it like a greatest hits?
I don't think it was. I think it was a current
Yeah, because it must have.
their current songs.
Maybe
you know?
it was ironic. Maybe they were the first hipsters.
Oh, maybe.
The
Maybe
early
they said
Beatles.
the early. Maybe they knew they had a future, huh?
They must have.
Yeah.
Do you
So anyway,
realize?
just back
Yes.
to this. Let me just
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
this knitting
the
story.
knitting thing.
Was that I remember these number 5 needles because I still have them because there's a little tiny bend at the tip of one of them now because I got it stuck in my locker, my employee locker at Corvettes. But I can still knit with them.
Right. Why are they straight? Are they?
Well, it's interesting. I now work on circular needles always unless it's not possible and I have to work on double point needles. That's a little bit
So wait. So there's a straight needle. Is a circular needle a closed circle or is it a horseshoe?
It can't be a closed circle.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's what it is two shorter firm points at
Okay.
the end and then a flexible wire.
Sort of like that.
Yeah.
So it's like a U.
So it's bendable.
It's a bendable.
And what it's for.
Oh, it's like one big one that's
Yes,
bendable.
but you go back, you can use a circular needle if you're doing circular projects like I've done. I have this great poncho. Actually, I even wore it when I was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. They said,
nice.
Oh, wear that. I said, great. And that was done on circular needles.
Okay.
Because there was so much fabric that, in fact, it was even done, I may have even had to do it on 2 circular needles at once, perhaps, because it was so big.
So circular needles probably end up being different lengths. Is that right?
Yes, the cables. See now what I have, I have a set of interchangeable circular needles that are really great.
Oh wow!
And I've
sort
had
of like a socket set.
Exactly, it's exactly what it is. And I had one set before, but they were not great quality. But they came out with these, and they're such it's so smooth. Between, where you screw on the end.
Yeah. It's seamless kind of?
Yeah, you can barely feel where it's screwed in. And also the cables are incredibly flexible.
Okay.
So they're terrific. I love them. And oh God, I love the needle points too, because I bought a nickel plated set, but then they came out with these wooden sets.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I'm so in love with them. And there's no practical reason that I need to get them, but every now and then I'll buy a set of wooden tips because they're just so luscious and beautiful.
So wooden tips, I mean, why are they pointy just so you can poke into the
They're pointy. I mean, they're not exactly like a pencil.
They're not sharp,
point,
but
right.
they're pointy.
They're pointy so you can catch the yarn, so you can catch the loop.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. And so wooden ones versus copper ones versus whatever, it's just making sure that they're smooth.
Yeah, do you want them to be smooth? And you also like the way the needle, the way the yarn, like the nickel plated one are way more slippery.
Yeah.
So the yarn, it's easier to drop things, drop stitches.
Okay.
But on the wooden ones, these particular wooden ones, because I've worked on other ones and the yarn is a little bit, kind of catches on it a little bit more, but these are really nice and smooth, but not as slick as the nickel one. So to me, it's just the perfect kind of
consistency to keep a hold of the yarn.
Smoothness.
Okay.
It holds, but lets it move.
Fair enough.
Oh my God, I love my needles and I love my yarn. That's the whole thing that it's like going into a yarn store where all the yarn is like set up in categories by colors and it's just so luscious and it feels so good. It's very tactile.
Is it always wool? It isn't always wool.
No, you can work in it.
Polyester. I mean, they have to have there isn't cotton yarn, is there?
Oh,
you can make a cotton sweater,
Absolutely.
Jackie. Yeah. So why wouldn't there be cotton yarn?
Cotton. There's
leather wool. No.
No, I don't think so.
You can't really knit with animal fabric, can you? Fur?
I don't think you can. I wonder if there's like.
I mean, it's probably not done anymore.
That's done.
Like a tiger pelt. That'd be inappropriate, first of all.
I have to ask the Trump sons about that. but
right.
But yeah, it's all different fabrics and and contents, and they've gotten so much better in the manufacturing. It used to, I mean, there are still shitty yarns. I mean, some real crappy yarns, but there are some beautiful acrylic yarns that you can get. And there are some beautiful superwash wools that you can wash and they come out great, which is great for baby stuff and
superwash. Okay. So wool is sort of the gold. I mean, that was the first one that I ever heard of. Cause I did an episode about knitting with Diva Zappa, which I love Diva Zappa, but it's all real organic, man. Because she's Diva Zappa.
Okay,
and
right.
so
That's
it
her
was
world.
beautiful. It
Right.
was so great, but she likes to use this yarn that is almost not there, like it's poofy. It's super hard to get a hold of or
Is
stuff.
it Angora?
Yeah, kind of, maybe. There's harder yarns to work with.
Yeah, I mean, like there are certain yarns that have a very thin shaft, but then will have a lot of like fibers coming off. of them.
Coming off of it so that you
Yeah.
can't tell where you're
Angora,
actually
I think,
grabbing.
would be like that. That's
Yeah.
that's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's hard to see where the hole is and where
Where you're grabbing.
the shaft of the yarn
Right.
is. May I say shaft?
Please say
Is it
shaft.
okay?
Please say it again.
Shaft.
Thank you. There you go. That's what you get, folks. Rangers. Live it up. And Cathy Ladman saying shaft. And I am curious, though, about how to knit. So you're given two
It's so
sticks.
simple. And also, I've been knitting you wrong for not wrong, but kind of in a confusing manner for a while. And some of my stitches
There was
were
an
twisted.
easier way?
And my mother-in-law is an excellent knitter. I think she's a master knitter personally. But,
Okay.
But she saw me knitting one time and she goes, "What are you doing exactly?" I showed her. She goes, "Well, actually, I think it's," and she's from Minnesota. She's a very
She doesn't want
kind
to.
way of saying,
Yeah.
she goes, "Actually, well, there is this other way, and if you do it this way," and it was like, "Oh my God, you've opened a world for me."
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it made total sense because even when I was knitting before, I realized, well, something's wrong here.
Okay.
Why is this stitch twisted here? And what she explained to me made it all clear. Knitting is so simple. It's a loop through a loop.
Okay, so you make a loop with one hand, and then you
What you do
shove the
initially,
thing through the... Okay.
No, that's crocheting.
Okay.
What you do with knitting is you want to do something called casting on. You cast on one needle a number of stitches. That's going to be your base, your foundation.
Okay.
So when you cast on,
That's how you start.
That's how you start. Let's
a
say you're
thing.
casting on 20 stitches. You're making
Okay.
a scarf, let's
Yes.
say, or something. That's the easiest
Something
thing to
simple.
start,
I
right?
like it.
And you cast on, and then what you do is you start to build the fabric on
that.
your next row. And there's basically only one stitch.
Okay.
But it's looked at from two sides. When you look at it from one side, it's called a knit stitch and it's flat.
Okay.
When you look at it from the other side, it's a purl stitch and there are little bumps.
Okay.
But it's really the same stitch just looked at from either side.
It's like looking at one side of the page and another
Right.
side of the page. Got
Right.
it. Okay.
But when you're making a purl stitch, you're going to hold the yarn that you're carrying, that you're working with, to the front.
Okay.
And when you pull the loop through, the loop is going to fall to the front of the work, and that's where it makes that bump.
Okay.
When you do a knit stitch, you're holding the yarn that you're working with in the back. You pull the loop through,
And let
it's
it
going
fall
to be on
back.
the back, so you're not going to see it. It's going to be flat and smooth on the front.
Interesting.
Now, when you're making a scarf, sometimes you don't want to make a flat knit like that because it'll curl. So that's
Okay.
that's why you want to do
you alternate?
a rib thing and some kind of pattern that lies flat a little bit better for a scarf.
Now,
Or you can block it flat also. That's another way.
okay, so a rib thing is what, and blocking is what?
Okay, a rib stitch would be classic rib stitches knit two, purl two.
Oh,
Knit two,
okay.
purl two. And what it does is
I've even heard that.
right, it's very common.
It's-
And it kind of, the fabric kind of like gets a little bit, it's stretchy. It's stretchy.
Okay. It's how it ends up interacting with each other, and it's a rib kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it goes like kind of like
a wave.
hills and valleys. Sort of.
Okay.
But and then when you pull it apart, what you end up seeing when you're looking at a ribbed fabric is you see all the knits because that's kind of how it happens.
Okay.
But then you pull it apart and then you see
The
there are the
pearls?
pearls. They're hiding in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Blocking is when you finish something and you want to put it into shape with steam.
Oh, okay. So you kind of
Pin
iron it, or
You don't want to iron it.
Right.
You can pin it. I don't have the space to have all this stuff. I would love one day to have a crafts room, but
Right.
you pin it either on a blocking board or I just use my ironing board.
okay.
And you use these pins and
To stretch
pin
it, or?
you pin it to shape. You don't really want to stretch it, but just kind of like
Flat.
slightly stretch maybe
Okay.
to shape. And you measure where you want it to be. If it's supposed to be a 12 by 12 square, let's say, you measure that, and then you can put a flat, just kind of like old pillowcase over it, and then you like steam, and you can press lightly the pillowcase.
Okay.
And then that and then you let it dry. And then when you take it off, it
should be flat and blocked. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you have knitted a pillowcase.
No, I haven't knitted a pillowcase.
Okay.
Wait, where did you get that?
I don't know where I got pillowcase.
Because I said you put an old pillowcase
over it. Oh, to protect it. There you go.
Protect it. And, and it's just a thin, it's like a, thin.
It's fine enough that you're not, that you can get through it,
exactly.
but not burn anything.
Right.
Got it. All right.
Good.
Sure.
Very good. You're grasping it.
I'm getting it. It's interesting. Like, there must be different levels of knitting. Like someone who can just knit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I brought a couple of things with me, but I brought.
If you bring it, we can describe it because I won't know what I'm looking at.
But this is a scarf.
It'll be perfect.
This is a scarf that I'm making for my my son-in-law, and this is something I have a friend, a Facebook friend, who's really she's a master knitter, and she knits for magazines and does test patterns.
Oh my gosh!
Stuff. So I said to her, "What would be a good stitch to make for a scarf?" And she gave me a couple of ideas. And this is called a mock rib stitch because it's not exactly knit to purl to. It's kind of like a little off center, and it comes out like this, and it's pretty. I like
it's super pretty.
And you see how it
accordionish?
Yeah, and it's pretty. It's not exactly.
Are these the pearls, the up high ones, or what?
See, this is a little more difficult to see because it's this mock rib.
Yeah,
and it's kind of it's not.
So it's not as obvious?
In a regular rib, you knit into a knit and you purl into a purl. In this one, you're kind of one off.
Okay.
You're one off. So that's why it's not exactly a rib, but I like it better because it lies a little bit flatter.
Right. And here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
The top of this scarf.
Yes.
That's
the cast on ridge.
That's the cast on ridge. And all you're doing there is, what are you attaching it to? Itself?
This was on the needle when I started.
Okay, so the needle is 6 inches long, or however long this is, right?
No, it has to be, a needle has to be like
twice as long?
Yeah, it's about, I don't even know how long a needle is. As I said, I use here the circular needle. This is interesting to everyone listening, I'm sure, but.
While she digs through her bag. No, it is, well, it's interesting to me because when you say cast on, what you're talking about is you're starting
a row of stitches.
Right. And it stays on the needle until you attach it to the next thing?
You knit off of that, and as you knit, it
falls off of the needle?
It goes down, and the fabric grows and grows.
Okay.
It's like the net, when you knit the first row, then that's the one that's on the needle.
Okay.
And the other one is now off the needle.
And the cast is off the needle.
Right. It's attached. But see, there are my needles.
This is the wire needle, or what's it called again? The circular.
That's the cable, right? This is a circular needle.
Which means it's more of a cable attached with two
tips.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then isn't this wood nice?
The wood is nice. Yeah. It's a very pretty word. So where do you go to get stuff?
I get these online at a place called Knit Picks. I really love their stuff.
KNIP.
Yeah.
KNIT.
KNIT-PICKS.
Oh, Knitpicks. Okay.
And, they have very basic yarns and their prices are great. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get real specialty yarns there.
But isn't it weird buying yarn on...
They have great needle kits too.
Okay. Like buying yarn online, isn't it kind of like buying clothes online where you don't get to try it on or feel it?
Well, you can always buy sample cards.
Okay.
And see what they feel like. You can also call them and these people know what they're talking about.
They'll talk you through it.
And they can say, this is very soft. It's kind of soft. It has a little bit of a nubby texture to it or whatever,
All the different knitting words and that you know what they mean because you've been doing it forever.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, but the reason I like them is that it's really affordable and they have good quality yarns.
Right.
Now this is the kind of project that I can do. Like I used to knit when I was writing on shows. I would knit in the writer's room. And I actually and my friend Jack told me he started knitting, and a lot of people loved what it was very soothing to watch.
Yeah.
I love doing it while I'm doing something else.
Because it feels like multitasking, but is it not? Is it just sort of?
Well, this is such an easy.
Like once you start doing it,
I barely have to think about it.
Okay. As opposed to data entry, which is also repetitive, but not as soothing.
Can't do that while you're talking to people. But then I'm working on this other project, and you can do this while you're watching TV, watching
Sure.
a movie on TV, you know.
Yeah, I've seen people do it just sort of at coffee shops and stuff where
Like-
you're just hanging out and they're just sitting
Right.
around like the book club. They're
Right.
sitting around with
Oh,
their
yeah.
friends.
But I love, like, this is the kind of project that I like to always have going. Something simple that's like a TV movie project.
Oh, it's kind of a background project.
Exactly.
Because then there's other projects that are like destination
Right.
kind of
Right,
holidays.
it's like office music kind of project.
Sure.
But this, what I'm making for my best friend, and I haven't done this in over a month, so I have to get, this is gonna blow your mind here.
All right.
I am making felted, they're going to be felted, which means, they're stuck on the,
Oh, there.
I got it.
It's just looped.
And no, the bag has a kind of a thing here. But,
Knitters are the first people who ever had hippie bags, like for groceries.
oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
because you're like, and it doesn't ever, because they're all open kind of grocery bags now. I
Right.
mean, do you have to put it in the bags carefully and take it out of the bag carefully
Yeah,
just to
you do,
make
'cause
sure
you don't
you're not
want-
ripping
some
it
people
apart?
Some people use needle tips, like when they're putting their projects back in bags.
Okay.
To make sure that the
Or to keep them together or
to make sure that the yarn doesn't slide off the needle. But
needle tips.
I'm too impatient to do that. So, but this, what I'm making is I'm doing this on double point needles because it's very confusing.
double points. And so
these are
single
gonna be
point
felted-
meetings don't have the tapered ends on both sides, is what you're saying.
No, they don't. They have
A flat end.
closure at the end, right? Like a kind of like a thumbtack. Almost, anything
And
that
what's
would
that?
stop.
Oh, just to stop the
Anything that
flow
would stop. It could be a bead,
of yarn.
It could be a large bead, depends on
Okay.
the kind of needles you get.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But these are pointed at both ends, and usually like socks. You can make socks. There are certain ways you can make socks with two circular needles.
Oh, wow.
But these are pointed at both ends, and they're I would say about 8 inches long.
Right.
And the reason that you use these is because a product that you're making, in this case a mitten, and it's done in a circular fashion, is that it's too small of a circle, to do with straight needles or with even with circular needles. It just wouldn't work because it's so tiny.
It's tiny, so you need two needles, or you need two ends.
You need 4 of these.
You need 4 needles
Actually, and sometimes 5.
with both ends.
Yeah, and you knit it in a circle.
Okay.
And I don't even, what I hate when I stop a project, I have to like really think when I go back
you gotta
to
relearn.
it. Like this, like where the fuck am I? I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And then you do it in a circle, but you do it like the circle is 3 needles or 4 needles.
Okay.
And you evenly distribute these stitches that you're working on, and 1 needle is free, and that's the one that you work onto each time. You go around in a circle.
And what you're doing is you're adding stitches to each of those 3 other needles? Is that what you're
not
doing?
adding, you're just knitting off of them.
Okay.
It's like, I don't want to knit because I don't know if I'm going to do
Right.
anything. But let's say I'm knitting right here, knitting off of this. Then all these stitches will end up on this needle, and then this will be my free needle.
Oh, okay.
I'll go
Because
around
you'll
in a
pull it
circle.
out.
Right.
I get it. Okay, so you'll knit on the free needle, and then you'll move from one of the 3 needles to the next of the 3 needles, because
Right.
you'll get a new free needle when you're
Exactly.
done with a row.
Exactly.
And you'll go to the next one, and that will create the circle.
Yes.
That'll create sort of the wristband of a mitten
Right.
or whatever.
You know what I just realized while I'm talking to you?
What?
I'm not afraid of trying anything new in knitting. I am not afraid of it,
Yeah.
which is why I've done so many different things. But in life, I am so afraid.
Oh, weird.
And maybe this is the way I find to conquer my fear.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe I am so
What do you-
adventurous with
You're
knitting.
adventurous with now. Are you adventurous with knitting because it's just knitting, or is it like, because you can always undo, right? Don't you have to take apart?
Yes.
And that's got to be a pain in the neck. But
Sometimes it is, but I would rather. I mean, like there's a mistake in my son-in-law's scarf, and
Yeah.
I thought, ugh, I don't want to do it. It's such a big.
you know what
scarf.
Diva
It's
Zappa
not-
says?
What?
She says that's just part of the beauty of it.
Exactly. I remember when, as a kid, going to the UN on a field trip in New York. And, you know, because that's where I grew up, and we had great field trips because it was New York.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
amazing.
And so we went to the UN, and there was a huge tapestry hanging from a wall, enormous tapestry. And to me, this was so actually like so, what's the word I'm looking for? Presumptuous of a concept that the guide said to the children that, and there was a mistake intentionally put into this tapestry to show that only God is perfect.
Oh, that's right. Right.
And I'm thinking like, and then years
that's right,
later,
they always do that.
Years later, in fact, you know, as an adult, one day I thought, well, there was going to be a mistake in there anyway.
Right.
Because
you didn't have to make a mistake.
The universe is perfect.
Right.
Then, you know.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have, it is a little, right, to think that you have to create, because you're a perfect being.
Well, I better make this mistake intentionally because I want to make sure that you're going to make the mistake anyway.
The mistake's going to be there. And the other thing is it's a great rationalization for not fixing a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, tapestries. What the hell are tapestries? Are those woven?
Looms. They're done on looms.
Giant
and they're
looms.
Giant things that wooden with
Ka-chunk.
I don't know how to do. I don't know. No, my sister-in-law has or had a loom at her house.
Oh, interesting.
And did that.
Have you ever seen the spinning of yarn? Have you ever done it?
I've never witnessed it. But when I was in China adopting my daughter, we went to the fabric. They had like a great fabric mart, and I found, and I still haven't used it, but I bought some cashmere yarn on a spool.
Oh, wow.
And I love knitting with cashmere, but it's very expensive. So
you need to choose very specifically what you're going to make and make sure.
Yeah, and I still have like so much. I have some. I mean, I just got rid of a lot of yarn that I thought I had so much money's worth of yarn, but I didn't know what I was going to make with it, so I just had to.
Well, because I bet you when you start looking at yarn, you're just like, oh, the possibilities are endless, and then all of a sudden you have stacks of yarn, and you're like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yes. Fair enough. My mother-in-law has an attic full of yarn.
She's got an attic full of yarn.
Yes.
I have books like that, and I just keep buying books, and I'm like, I'm never going to read.
When you read, do you buy books or take them from the library?
I buy them. I used to do the library, and then I travel so much that I'm just wandering through too many bookstores and too many towns.
And you read a lot.
I read a fair amount, but I also
am such a bad book reader. I have so many different things that I'm reading.
Yeah.
It takes me so long to get through a book, and it's frustrating.
But isn't it great to start many books at once? Some people like to read one book at a time. Mm-hmm. I like to have like 5 things going at once.
I have 5 books going.
I have a nonfiction book that I'm reading by Eric Bogosian. Mm-hmm. I have a couple of rereads that I bring on the road with me.
Like what?
Just usually romance novels or science fiction novels that are just soothing. Like if I'm twitchy.
Right.
And then I also have usually a book or 2 on Kindle.
I like using that.
It's harder. It's usually a reread on Kindle as well. I'm rereading some books from when I was a kid. It's a Civil War series, written by a guy named Altshuler. It's a boys series. It's 4 books are set from one cousin who fought for the South, and 4 books are set from the other cousin who fought for the North.
That sounds cool.
Yes, and he wrote them in the early 1900s. So.
Oh, you know what I just bought?
What?
I bought, Stephanie Story?
No.
Stephanie Story is, you should know, what's Mike Gandolfi's wife?
Oh, wow.
You know Mike Gandolfi,
I know Mike Gandolfi.
Yeah, and
very funny guy.
He is a very funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
And she just wrote her first novel, and it's getting amazing reviews.
Stephanie Story?
Yes, Storey.
Storey.
And it's called Oil and Marble. And I mean, one of the reasons I bought it is to support a friend.
Right.
But the other reason is that's the only time I've been buying books a lot recently is to support people I know.
Right. And you're like, you pray to God that they're good. Because it's sort of like watching someone's TV show or listening to their album. You're like, please be funny. Please be smart. Please be good. And it's always great. So Oil and Marble, is it
and it's
mystery?
It's a fictional historical fiction, which I love.
Oh, interesting. I enjoy a historical fiction. Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo at the same time. Oil being
marble.
Da Vinci, marble being Michelangelo.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah.
Actually, it could be.
You haven't started
it's
it yet?
both of them, actually. They both
Didn't they
worked
both
in both
do?
media.
I think so.
Yes. I have not started it yet because I have I have a pile of books that are at least a foot high.
Right.
Nonfiction, fiction,
Just various.
self-improvement.
Do you do books on tape? Do you ever do Audible?
You know what? I like it a lot, but I don't have time, Jackie. I have all these podcasts, and I'm not
I don't listen to any
traveling
podcasts.
as much as you are.
Rangers, keep listening to this podcast. But I don't listen to any podcasts. I listen to books on tape. And I also re-listen to books on tape. Like right now I'm re-listening for the 100th time, Assassination Vacation by Sarah Vowell.
I don't even know what that is.
It's about the assassinations of McKinley, Lincoln, and Garfield.
Oh my God.
And it's very funny because it's written by Sarah Vowell.
I don't even
And
know
she
who
reads
that
it.
is.
Oh, she's an NPR lady. And you would
How
think
do you spell her last name?
Vowell, Sarah, with an H. She was on The Daily Show a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at the discovery. It's a beautiful discovery
It is a
time.
discovery,
All right.
yes.
So,
I have 2 books on tape that my stepson bought me, and I haven't listened to them yet.
right. Well, it's hard because you got to be either you got to put them on your iPod and fly around a lot,
Right.
or you got to drive around a lot.
Yeah, and when I drive, I'm generally listening to politics.
Into politics and podcasts.
Well, I don't have, it's hard for me. I have an older car, so I don't have like a great podcast setup in my car.
Right.
I can listen to through my Bluetooth.
Right.
It's a tinny sound.
Oh,
I would
okay.
I don't know if there's any way to set up my car so I can listen through my speakers.
Yes.
I have an old car.
Right. You'd have to, 1 year with my 2003 Toyota Corolla, Andy got me for my birthday.
Yes.
A new radio that had a sync thing.
So I can do that?
Yeah,
I have a 2004 Honda Accord.
There you go. Go over to Fry's.
Okay.
And they'll hook you up, Fry's Electronics.
Oh my gosh.
And for, I don't know what it was,
This is
probably
a huge discovery time.
$200 or $300, and they will set it up for you, and then your phone can work through your speakers.
That would be great.
And
I can get rid of that stupid Bluetooth thing that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. And
right. That's
was
the
a good
sync
investment.
SYNC is what I recommend.
Okay.
It's what they're
Is
in
that
all
the
the
brand?
Fords. Yeah, I think that's the software
I
brand.
would love to buy a new car, and I just can't afford it now.
Well, fair enough. It's
I want one.
does it run? Do you like a new car?
I do. I would like to get. First of all, I would like to get a car that's under warranty.
Oh,
So I don't have
interesting.
to worry about repairs now because
Okay.
now
Well, 2004 now repairs are coming.
Yes.
How many
And
miles on that Accord?
120,000.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't drive a lot. It's the most I've ever had on mileage that
And the
I've had.
Honda Accord, that's a hell of a road car, my friend.
It's a good car.
If you want to go back to the road,
yes,
that's
I know.
gonna be you
And I
want to do
like
it.
driving.
Yeah.
Although the other night I did a gig in Santa Barbara and with Laura Kilmartin, and I was driving home, and I'm so glad. I usually stay for the whole show, but I had the option of leaving early.
Right.
And I
And
took
it's an
it.
hour and a half.
And
so,
I took it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that last 45 minutes, thank God my friend Bev Mickens called me. Because I told her, call me, I'll be on the road. So she calls me at like 10:30 or so.
Oh, and it kept you awake.
And I was like, oh, thank God. Because like for 15 minutes, I was fighting it. And it was so hard. And she talked me the whole way home.
Yep.
And when I pulled into my carport, I was talking to her. And for a few times, I said, what did I say 950? Why did I say 950? And there were a few times, and Bev is so good. She goes, yeah, 950. I mean, she didn't
She's
question
just trying
me.
to be
She's
supportive.
trying to help me. She's always like very affirming. And I did it a few times. I said, wait a second. Would I just say hissing? What?
Oh, Christ.
I said, I gotta get upstairs.
Well, you're terrifying.
Yeah.
That's a terrifying story of Cathy Ledman driving.
And it was very scary. At one point, I thought I wanted to pull over, but I wanted to get home so badly. And
Yeah.
for those listening, these are poor driving decisions.
Right, don't do it. My
Very poor.
iPad fits right over my steering wheel.
How does that happen?
Well, you just because I have the case holds underneath the hood of where the speedometer is, and so it can just be there, and so I can put Waze on or MapQuest or whatever.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
But do I? And I do. But am I also looking at Twitter a little bit at stoplights? It isn't okay.
I'm doing things that are, and I
Dumb.
have a 12-year-old daughter, and I really have to I'm
that's
supposed to be a
insane.
model.
Yeah, you're supposed to be. We're all supposed to be a
And
model.
she'll go, I say, Milan, please remind me. She'll go, Mom. And I'll go, oh, thank you. And then when she's not in the car, I get sloppy.
Yeah.
And It's stupid.
It's
stupid.
There's no,
And I've gotten
I don't
into
understand.
A car accident.
Oh, have you?
While this is so.
I've gotten a ticket.
This is horribly embarrassing.
Okay.
Playing a game.
Oh, you were playing a game.
Yes, I mean,
while
it's
driving.
horribly.
The game of driving is a game, but I am sympathetic.
I am so embarrassed.
It's a little bejeweled.
Coloring right now.
What were you doing? Right.
I can't even remember. It was with these dots that fell. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Right, because driving and listening to a podcast is not enough.
Well, there weren't even podcasts then.
Right, but radio.
It was on my Palm. If that tells you how long.
Wow,
it was.
Palm Pilot, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day.
So what happened to you? You got a ticket doing what?
I don't know. I was on my iPad on the 5, and it was almost standstill, or it was standstill. It could have been standstill.
Standstill, I'll do something.
Standstill, yeah, and whatever it was. But the cop, steam coming out of his ears. He was so mad at me.
What did he do? What did he say?
He was like, "This is worse than your phone. Your iPad is worse than your phone." And I was like, "All right." I mean, I didn't have, whenever someone's,
scared?
Well, no, I'm a middle-aged white lady, so not that scared. And when everyone,
I get scared when someone admonishes me like that.
I always, I'm enormously,
that's why I knit.
I'm always polite when anyone's armed around me. I'm always, and even when I got my DUIs and stuff,
You got a DUI?
Two DUIs, but the cops were always super polite.
Oh my God.
Many years ago. And,
in Minnesota?
One in Minnesota, one here in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Yeah. I have friends who've gotten them in several different states. That's the way to go, by the way.
Do you ever drink and drive anymore?
I do not.
Good.
And not at this time. Hopefully not tomorrow.
Do you drink anymore?
I don't drink anymore.
Oh, good.
So there you go. Yeah. I had to wrap it up. And so.
Wrap it up. My favorite line in Defending Your Life.
Oh.
When Albert Brooks is going on and on and on, and Rip Torn is his lawyer, and he's going on and digging himself into a hole, explaining, and Rip Torn goes, "Psst, wrap it up."
Rip Torn makes all movies better, and Defending Your Life is one of the greatest movies in the world.
Oh my God, it's a brilliant concept with a brilliant execution, fantastic cast, great jokes.
Yep,
could not be.
We could dork out very easily on, because I love Defending Your Life and I love Mother.
Oh, I love Mother. And a lot of people did not like it.
A lot of people, my friend Jim Wooster, friend of the show, Jim Wooster he says there's two different kinds of Albert Brooks fans. There's essentially the people who like Friends and the people who like Seinfeld. And I'm like, hey, jackass. And he's like, do you like, remember the one where, his early stuff, like Albert Brooks's early stuff.
Oh, you mean like Lost in America, Modern Romance.
Modern Romance, and
I love Modern Romance.
Those two make me uncomfortable.
They do?
Yeah, I love Defending Your Life and Mother more than the early stuff.
You know what I love in Modern Romance, when he's he works in he's producing this film, and he's working on the Foley, the sound effects on the film, and George Kennedy is actually in this scene, and it's this space, they're on a spaceship or something, and they're running down a hallway, and they're trying to sound different Foley sounds. And one of them sounds like, it sort of sounds horrible. It's a hilarious scene. And you see these two union guys doing, like, Foley guys doing what he's asking them to do. Yeah. And they finally do it. And, he's like so excited. What do you think? And one guy goes, I think you saved the picture. Like, he's so dry.
Yeah. See, that's my favorite thing about Albert Brooks, is that, he's a more accessible, Woody Allen. And I like, cause he feels more human. He feels more faceted.
Well, I think he's a less intellectual.
I
think he's smart, but he's less intellectual.
I think that Woody Allen's a little bit of a poser with the intellectual.
You think so?
I do, but that's, I loved Annie Hall. Yeah. But I haven't watched anything since he married his stepdaughter.
Oh, God. I mean,
it's been very hard.
Hannah and Her Sisters.
It was the last one I saw.
Hannah and Her Sisters? Yeah. Brilliant movie.
It's a great movie.
Brilliant. And it's absolutely, I wrote him, I saw it 4 times in the theater, and I wrote him a letter, and he wrote me back, and it's framed on my wall. I was, cause I'm from 3 girls, 3 daughters. Yeah. And the chemistry and the
I love Broadway Danny Rose.
Oh, I love Broadway Danny Rose. Oh my God, I love Broadway Danny. And my friend, I'm friends with Jack Rowland's daughters. And
who's Jack Rowland?
Jack Rollins was...
No, I'm in the part of show
okay.
business that doesn't know anybody. Who's Jack
Oh,
Rollins?
Jack Rollins was a very famous comedy producer.
Oh, there you go.
He just died this past year at 100.
Okay.
And
Not a career cut, tragically short.
Nichols and May, started with Harry Belafonte, Tony Bennett. Then he started to get into comedy with Nichols and May, discovered Woody Allen, Dick Cavett, Robert Klein, then amongst some
What the hell's his name?
Jack Rollins.
Jack Rollins.
Yeah, and he's in the opening scene in the deli with Sandy Barron.
Yeah.
And all those older comics holding court. Jack is in there, and he's got these really baggy eyes, and he's just smiling, and he's not saying anything, but he's just hanging out there with them. And it's just a fantastic scene.
That's
when
great.
they're all telling their stories, and Sandy Barron goes, "Okay, now you all finished? Now you all finished? This is the greatest story,
Broadway
Danny
Danny Rose
story of all time," and then it morphs into.
You're right. Okay, I mean there is what I like about Albert Brooks is it's a more of a 360 view of humanity, and and with Woody Allen it's surgical. It feels like it's much sharper and much. Maybe intellectual is the word, but
he's very anachronistic, Woody Allen. He's from another time, and he adores another time.
Yes.
He adores the 30s and the 40s.
Yes.
He adores that. So there's a lot of that texture in his films. Albert Brooks is more modern.
He is more modern. Yeah, he's willing to embrace
more of today.
Yes, it feels it feels more accessible, but it feels just as smart.
Oh,
but it isn't quite as.
I don't think it's playing to the bottom of the room by any means.
Chance. Neither one of them.
No, but I remember.
But it has that vibe. Woody Allen has that 20s, 30s, 40s vibe.
It's he's very specific in his choices that some people might not know. His references. There are a lot of people might not know, and there's some of them that I don't know.
Right.
But I just happen to love his sensibility. I just really do. And I remember seeing Sleeper when it came out with my parents, and I was, an adolescent. And in fact, I sat separately from them. I sat on the other side of the aisle from them, and it was really funny. But I developed a greater appreciation for it as an adult. There are just things that make me laugh so hard.
Right.
In Sleeper.
Yeah.
And also what's so funny is how ridiculous we thought the amount sold was on the McDonald's sign. We thought, oh, that's such a big number. And it came to pass.
And so it came to pass.
Yep.
Sure. It's, that is crazy.
I could talk movies like,
right.
God.
Well, and we're
almost
we're close. We're close to an hour.
Movies another time, Jackie.
You got to come back, Cathy Ladman, because do you read, is there any resources, like if people want to learn how to knit and stuff, and they don't have your mother-in-law as a master knitter, and your mother to teach you when you were 9.
Oh, you know what's so great that they have now that they didn't have is, these video tutorials.
Oh, okay.
Which are great. And you can go on a resource. First of all, you can go to nitpicks.com.
Yeah.
And they have some of their own tutorials, which I think are free.
Yeah.
But there are
there's a YouTube
there's tons of YouTube
stuff. Rabbit hole that you can go down
absolutely.
forever. Yeah.
And then there's this other place that I like called craftsy.com.
With an SY?
Craftsy, like the word craft.
Yeah, with an SY.
Used with a C, not in the comedy way of a K.
Because they're not trying to be hilarious?
Oh, God. If you could only see my facial expression now. But
Cathy Ladman does not approve.
No, craftsy.com. And they have tons of classes. You pay for them, but some of them are not expensive. And what's great about having those classes is that they're downloaded. And
so you keep them.
You keep them, and then you can go to them at any point as a reference. But truth is, you can also do the same thing with YouTube. You can
free
can save what a thing about learning to knit is everybody forgets how to cast on over and over and over again at the beginning because you do it once, then you do your project, then you're going to start your project. Your second project is like, oh my God, how do I cast on?
Right.
So you have to refer to it a lot. So you have these videos. You don't have to go back to the knitting store the way I had to back in the dark ages.
Right. Do you have any books? I mean,
I have so many books, and I had saved so many magazines, and I had to just let them go.
Do some purging.
And I also used to subscribe to Vogue Knitting, and I finally let that go because I wasn't doing any of their stuff. It's fun to look at, though. I can dork out on looking at knitting patterns because there's gorgeous stuff.
Like what? What's the hardest thing to knit? Like, is it a mitten? Is it a sweater?
It's a little awkward. Like the machinations you have to go through to get like
to do
this
round
one that
stuff.
I'm doing.
What is that? Is that a mitten?
It's going to be a mitten. It's felted, so that's why it's so huge.
What's felted?
Well, this will shrink in see how big loose the stitches are? This will shrink and become like a tight fabric where you almost don't even see the stitches anymore, like felt.
Oh, I see.
It's very cool.
Because here's what I was thinking. I bought the most expensive mittens in the world in Madison, Wisconsin, because I had lost my hat and mittens. So I decided to spend too much money, an embarrassing amount of money, instead of walking down the block on State Street to Ragstock and buying normal stuff. I bought essentially repurposed sweaters that had been knit together and then lined with something, felt or something. Beautiful. And they're gorgeous. But
they're crafts, right?
Right, and they were handmade, of course, and they deserve to be every dime of the $50 I spent on mittens that I will one day lose.
You know what you need to do?
Let go.
You need to go into Barney's, and look at the prices there, and then you'll realize what a bargain you got.
And plus, at least it was a lady or a person who made it instead of just kids.
Money, Jackie.
It felt like a lot of money.
I understand, but that's not a lot of money,
especially for amount of work that everybody's done it. And the lady and whoever made them, I assume, who knows? It could have been a fella, but
there's this very famous knitter, and I forget his name. Very famous master knitter in Minnesota, who's a guy
who gives the masters. How do you know if you're a master?
I don't know exactly, but
maybe the magazines and stuff, or there's just.
I mean, there are all sorts of like clubs and organizations probably. You know what I've never gone to, what I really want to go to is the Vogue Knitting festival or something they call it.
Like a con?
It's every
like a
September.
Convention?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I bet.
It's a convention. I would love to go to it.
And you should go to that.
It was in LA once and I missed it.
Oh, there you go.
Then I'd have to travel to another city and stay in a hotel. And then I have a 12-year-old daughter and I have to leave for 4 days. And,
Right. Well, you could go for 3.
I have to have money when I do that. Though.
Right. You'd have to have money because you
want to buy stuff.
You want to buy stuff. But imagine 3 days when you're just sitting around talking to people who only want to talk to knitting.
But, here's the anxiety in that.
Yeah.
Is being there and trying to, and allowing myself to get lost in that. And then having to go back to my life and get caught up with everything else. I mean, that's insane. That's that's living in the future. That's
that's
in the present.
Right. That is a future that has not happened.
That's right.
But let me tell you something about comic book conventions and anime conventions.
Oh, you're good with conventions.
I go to any number of conventions, and you can sit around with somebody, and they will go down a rabbit hole of
I love that.
Marvel and DC, and it is amazing. And then you leave and you feel a real loss because you're like, I connected with other people who love something as much as I love. So I would recommend you wouldn't lose it. You wouldn't lose anything for it. You would gain something for it.
I should. I mean, when I have some money, money to spare, I should do that. And also, when you get that feeling, oh, I want this cup. Subway MTA cup.
Yeah,
I want that.
Yeah, we got 6 of them for when it's a pint glass.
I would like that.
All right. Well, I might have 2.
New York.
Yeah.
When you're connecting with people on that intense level about something that you have such passion about.
Right.
For me, I feel like no inkling of depression, of worry, of anxiety, because everything is all about love.
You're just, you're connected.
Yeah. And it's
that connection is incredibly powerful.
It really makes everything feel okay, And if I could try to find that each day in my life, obviously I'm not going to find it all day,
right.
But have pockets of that love in each day, I'd be a much happier and healthier person. I really would.
Yeah. But there's no reason not to sort of, I think that's why there are, there are Facebook groups and there are things like that where you can go down that rabbit hole verbally.
Last night I came home, I did a really wonderful show called Break or Broken. Mm-hmm. Michelle Miracle does it. It's a storytelling show.
Okay.
At the Garage in Culver City.
Okay.
And I loved the show. I had only seen it once. I went down to see it just because I wanted to get out and do something and see some friends work. And it was wonderful. And it's all about heartbreak. Anything that's broken your heart. And it can be very funny. It can be very poignant. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be about a romance. Could be about, there's tons of things that break your heart in life.
People lose a dog and they're out of their minds.
Yeah. And you find out that something you believed wasn't true.
Feet of clay. Feet of clay.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
Well, that's what that means.
Oh,
it's like someone that you believed in is human.
Or something that you believed in.
Right. Is flawed.
As in a myth or Santa Claus or whatever, something like that. Yeah, you find out that you go to you go visit something in Hollywood, the set of a show that you loved, and it's all fake. Right. Anything.
Anything.
Anyway, there's a very broad amount that you can go through. But so I did this last night, and I drove home, and I wanted to eat something, and I started. Everybody else was asleep, and everybody, I mean, meaning my husband and my daughter. The whole pack of them were asleep.
Right.
And so I turned on, I had been watching Bessie with Queen Latifah because I'd never seen it. And I was in the middle of it. And I got so involved in it that I stayed up way too late and I finished it. It's so wonderful. If you can catch it, it's so wonderful.
TV show, movie?
It's an HBO movie. And
nice.
So beautifully done and so beautifully performed. And she is such an amazing talent. I remember working with her years ago.
Queen Latifah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my God. She's such an amazing
There was
talent.
a romantic comedy I just saw at Christmas with her that I can't remember the name of, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that movie. It's about, she thinks she has a terminal disease and people are yelling at their iPods because they remember it. But, she doesn't, but she decides to live her life to the fullest and take all of her savings and go to the most expensive, like 1% kind of ski resort. And Gerard Depardieu is in it. And it's very life affirming and very beautiful. You would like it. It's sweet.
I probably would. And there's another movie that I'd seen her in with Holly Hunter, one which I loved called Living Large or something. Oh, I have to look it up. It's about a woman whose husband leaves her, and then she meets Queen Latifah, who's a singer in this place. And
neat.
And it's wonderful. Queen Latifah, romantic, and she's very talented. Her voice is incredible.
Right.
She's a wonderful actress.
Right.
Oh my God.
Hey, if you guys have work for Queen Latifah out there, we'd like to recommend that.
That's right. So Bessie, I stayed up too late, which is why I'm a little tired this morning, but this was very invigorating.
So now where are you going to be here? You're mostly doing stand-up and shows here in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, because the most of my energies is going towards memorizing and getting my show. I'm at the last stages of memorization now.
And when's your show going up here in Los Angeles as well?
It's taken so long. I'm going to start workshopping it here, so I'm not going to tell anybody where it's going to be quite yet.
So people follow at Cathy Ladman on Twitter, and then you'll find out when it's all solid.
Yes, or CathyLadman.com. I also have a website which is kind of like a placeholder at this point. But once my show is up, I'll be putting a lot more things on it. Does this show make me look fat.com?
Does this show make me look fat.com? Very funny.
That's about it. That's about it.
Find Cathy Ladman and watch her talk out of her joke hole.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm loving doing some local shows.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the Dork Forest.
Fun.
All right, you guys, you know the rules. Take care of each other out there.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?